Hello there. Now then, I don't know if you've noticed, but in the last few videos I've had some focusing issues. Well, I should say I haven't had them, my camera has had them. And it seems to prefer to focus on this background rather than focusing on me. Which, you know, I can't blame it if I'm honest. But I need to correct this problem. Especially when I'm doing the My Guitar feature because yeah, I want to talk to the camera and we don't want to be distracted by all of that gumph in the background. So my daughters have actually given me some bits of material. Now this is a blue nylon shower curtain and this is some green material. So what I thought I'd do is see if I could use these as a backdrop. Now I've already put some hooks up, so I'm going to try the blue one first. Now then, the problem is it's not very wide, but it might work for close-ups. Although it has got rather a lot of creases in it. I suppose I could iron it, see if I can get the creases out. Not so sure. I know, I think I'm going to try the green one. Now this one has the advantage of being much wider and it is a little bit smoother. Got a few creases there, but I think it looks quite nice. Do you know what? Wasn't really happy with any of those sheets, so I ordered a green screen and it arrived today. So let's see what we can do with that. Whoa! Whew. Not sure how we're going to do this. Hello there, I'm Dave and welcome to my workshop. Now, got an exciting episode because this bass guitar that I've been working on for some weeks now is getting close to the point where I can start putting the fittings on, the pickups, the bridge, to see if this thing works. I also need to sort out this rather ugly looking end of the body there, so that's something, a bit of a challenge that I've got to tackle in this episode. Also got a great My Guitar feature, which is a tale of two guitars and two countries, so stay tuned. In the meantime, let's see what we can do about this. Now, if I'm perfectly honest with you, I'm not quite sure what to do about this, but I'm going to try a plan A, and plan A is going to be to create a block which replicates this strip. So I've got some oak, bit of an offcut there, and I've got the sycamore that I used in the middle. I'll find the veneer and I'm going to make up the block, stick it together, and then see if I can somehow shape it so that it fits on there and doesn't look out of place. That's plan A. Okay, 2 blocks of oak, a couple of pieces of veneer and the sycamore, and I'm just going to sandwich all of those together and leave them to dry, and we'll see if we can do something with that. Okay, so now I've got the block glued. I'm just going to cut it down to size, sand it on the belt sander. That needed a little bit more than just sanding, but it's pretty flat now. I'll tell you what, this is a wonderful plane. This is. It was an old plane that I found in my late father-in-law's garage, and it was pretty mucky and rusted up, so I cleaned it up. But that blade is absolutely beautiful and it gives a brilliant finish. Now this block that I used in the end is a little bit thinner than the actual end of the body there, but that's not a problem because what I want to do is taper this down, and I think I can taper it into this block. But I think before I do anything else I've got to flatten that end. It's not very flat. So how best to do that? Well, that's nice and flat now. And that's how that's going to fit. So I just want to sketch out a very rough shape. Now I want to do the final shaping once it's stuck to the guitar, but what I think I'll do is just cut this out with a bandsaw to take a lot of the material off, and then I think we'll glue that onto the body. I used a tuner tin in the end just to get a slightly better shape. Always come in useful, tuner tins. Right, now then I want to stick this on the end, and it needs to be flush with the top of the guitar. So what I'm going to do is put a couple of pieces of cardboard in there, a couple of offcuts of plywood, and they're jammed underneath there quite nicely. And now I shall just lay that on the top, and that should give me a nice flat top to work with. Looks okay. Now then, before I glue this, the neck is slightly offset, as you will know, so it would pay for me to fit the neck and adjust this so that it sort of matches in better. Let's try that. I'm thinking it might make sense to glue it on with the neck fitted in anyway. Let's just see. Let's get that neck fitted. It's a nice tight fit. Okay, there's the piece of wood. Now I know this looks potentially like a bit of a bodge at the moment, but I'm hoping once I've carved this down and shaped it and sanded it all, that you're really not going to see that join, and it's going to look all right. So this isn't going to be as big as this, obviously. It's going to be much smaller. Should I cut it a bit smaller already? Decisions. I think I'm going to take a bit off the end there, which is more by accident than design, but I might mount it that way. This bends slightly down to the well, up to the top here, and I think that means it'll sort out that problem there where it's a little bit offset. So yeah, I think this could work out quite well. So I'm going to glue this in place. I'm going to put a thin sheet of paper just there so that I don't get it stuck to the neck, and well, it should be okay. Having spent a bit of time doing all the frets, I don't really want to mess those up, so I'm going to use my gluing block here, but I'll put a sheet on it. There we go. I've got a feeling I'm going to need to clamp this down as well as into the back there. Okay, well, I'm going to leave this joint to cure, and in the meantime, first of all, I'm going to apologise for the sound quality earlier, because I just realised that the external microphone is not plugged in properly. Hopefully it's plugged in now. But I think it's time for this week's My Guitar feature. Now, today's guitar stories come from Nigel. Now then, I need to set the scene here because in 2006, Nigel and his wife decided that they would move to Cyprus from the UK. Now, they returned to the UK on a temporary basis in 2013, and for the next 5 years split their time between working on a house in Cyprus and living in the UK. Now, our story actually starts at the beginning of 2019 when Nigel, while in the UK, decided to build a Les Paul. Now, Nigel's obviously a Gibson fan, as that will become clear later on. But I've got an admission to make here, and that is in October 2004. I went to Anderton's guitar shop in Guildford with Carolyn, and I had some money and I was determined to buy a Les Paul. I had this picture of a black Les Paul, always wanted one. So we went into the shop, and the chap very kindly set me up in a little practice room to have a go, and he brought in a few Les Pauls. And oh, they sounded great, and I liked them. And then he said, you might like to try this one. And he bought this guitar in, a PRS. And I have to be honest with you, I fell in love with it. So I love the shape of the Les Paul, but well, this PRS, it's a Tremonti SE, just did it for me. Anyway, sorry, I digress. Let's get back to Nigel's story. Now, Nigel says that he worked on the guitar whenever he had a spare moment. Got to remember, they were doing up a house in Cyprus at the same time. So whenever he was in the UK, he would have a go at the guitar. And by the end of the year, he got most of the work done on the guitar, apart from things like the electronics, fitting the tuners, the bridge and the tailpiece and the nut, and obviously to do a setup. Now, at the end of 2019, Nigel and his wife decided to sell their new build home in Cyprus, and they bought a 300-year-old property in the same village. And they also decided that they would make Cyprus their permanent home. Now, I'm going to leave that story there for a moment, and let's have a look at the guitar. You know, I like looking at the spec, and as usual, I've got some slides which I will just put on the screen for a very short period of time. If you want to have a look at them, just pause the video. So let's have a look. The guitar is a two-piece Sapele body. It's got 16mm flamed maple for the top and a Fulks binding. It's a two-piece maple neck with a volute, an Indian rosewood fretboard, 22 frets, locking tuners and a bone nut. It's got a flame maple headstock veneer. It's got a tom or a TOM roller bridge. Not come across one of those, so I'll have a look at that. Iron gear pickups, again, they're new to me. A blues engine and a dirty torque. Yeah, you can sort of guess the sound that comes out of those. And it's got some Crimson Guitar stains, some water-based stains, and some Crimson Guitars high build finishing oil. So let's have a look at the woods that he's used. Okay, so the first wood is Sapele. Now, I was surprised to find that this is actually a vulnerable species because there's been a reduction in the population of 20% in the past 3 generations. I didn't realise that. I thought this was one of those woods that was sustainable. So we need to be a little bit careful with this wood. We don't want to put that into a danger zone. It's got a lovely colour to it, and it's got a lovely grey. Now, I used it on the Great Guitar Build-Off 2020 guitar. It's the travel guitar. Used it on the back and I used it on the neck. And once I put that finish on, it was a high gloss finish. Oh, it looked absolutely beautiful. Now then, it can tear out with power tools, and I was aware of that. It's because of the grain structure, so you've got to be a little bit careful. And obviously I like to look at the health and safety aspect, and with most of these woods, they tend to irritate your skin and your breathing if you're not careful. So obviously always take care. Now, next up is the Indian rosewood. Now, we all know that this is an endangered species. So if you can use an alternative, then all well and good. But I mean, obviously the rosewood has a beautiful colour and a beautiful grain. So can't blame people for using it. It can be difficult to work because it is quite dense. So it can present a challenge, but it's probably worth it in the end. And again, it's a skin irritant. And finally, we've got the curly or flamed maple. This is a lovely looking wood. I'm not sure what causes the flames. So if anybody knows that, please let me know. It's a light wood with these ripples in it, and it is fairly easy to work like all maples, and gives a beautiful finish. And again, just watch out when you're using it for the health and safety aspects. Okay, so now let's have a look at those photos. Ooh, that's a lovely top there. I love that flamed maple book match top. I'm saying book matched. I'm not sure if it's quite book matched, but yeah, I love the grain on that running across the guitar. Beautiful, absolutely stunning. Okay, here we are, the sapele on the back there. You see, it's a lovely, deep, rich colour, and you know, once you've got the finish on, that really brings it out. But wow, that's quite a guitar there. It's quite a chunky guitar, that one. Here we are. The neck, that looks like a balloon in those dots, I think, and that's the rosewood. Again, beautiful grain, nice bit of fretwork there. And the back of the neck again is the sapele. That's a lovely shape headstock, I'll be honest. Woo, we've got some dies on there. Oh yeah, I like that colour. That really does bring out that flamed maple. Amazing, amazing. And these are the water-based stains from Crimson Guitars. I wonder, Nigel, has this been sanded back? It looks like it has. It looks like you've put a couple of coats on and sanded that back, but that looks quite stunning, that does. Oh, again, on the headstock, and you can see the he's done like a book matched top on that headstock as well. But that's a really nice shaped headstock. It's a bit unusual, that one. Smashing. Now in March 2020, Nigel and his wife popped back to Cyprus. And then, well, the pandemic hit. And for the next 18 months, they were stranded in Cyprus. They had 14 flights back to the UK cancelled. So while Nigel was stuck in Cyprus, his Les Paul was waiting to be finished in the UK. Now, before the pandemic struck, and while in Cyprus, Nigel and a very good friend used to play in a local coffee shop. And indeed, Nigel's friend was really looking forward to having a twang on the new Les Paul. Tragically, in April 2020, his friend died suddenly. Nigel says it wasn't related to the virus. Now, his friend's landlord demanded that the house be cleared quickly, and so Nigel and his wife stepped in. Now hold on to that. I'll come back to that in a bit. Things really were not going to plan. I think we all know the feeling. But obviously Nigel is not somebody who lets things get the better of him. And I think he must be a bit of a Gibson fan, because he decided to make the most of his time in Cyprus by making a Gibson SG. Now, for this next part of the story, I need to transport you to Nigel's workshop in Cyprus. Oh, well, I say, this is a nice workshop, Nigel. There's plenty of fresh air. Now, you have to remember that Nigel and his wife were in the process of basically selling up in the UK and moving to Cyprus permanently. And they just popped back to Cyprus in March 2020 before the pandemic hit. So Nigel's tools were all languishing in his workshop in the UK. And he had very few tools in Cyprus. In fact, Nigel tells me, he says, I managed to acquire various hand tools second-hand, which helped. And along the way, he made a router sled, a radius sanding block, levelling beams, various jigs, and a bench sander out of an old broken bandsaw. I mean, I'm intrigued to see that. He said he even made his own fret crowning file by grinding safe edges onto a triangular file. Know what you mean, Nigel, we've done that. Well, the thing, what about the wood? He had no wood. Well, this is where clearing his friend's house comes in, because while they were clearing that out, they discovered a CD rack, which Nigel says was made of Shisham wood. I hope I've pronounced that correctly. Now, I think that is rosewood. So he had a bit of nice wood there. They also found some old teak garden furniture, and he took that. He then spoke to a local friend, a builder friend, who managed to get him some sapele, which was 1.5 metres by 7 by 4 inches. Apologies for mixing up the measurements there, but I think you get my drift. So he got the wood. Now, he ordered a template, and Nigel was a draftsman, so he knows a thing or two about dimensions, and the template came and it had dimensions in imperial and metric, and they didn't match up. So that created a few problems along the way. Let's take a look at the spec of this guitar. Nigel tells me the body is a 3-layer sandwich. The top and bottom layers are 10mm thick, and that's this Shisham wood boards. The filling of the sandwich is a 20mm thick board made up of 15 strips of what he believes is teak, which he rescued from the garden furniture. The neck is a 2-piece made of sapele. He has a Shisham fretboard, 22 frets, dual action truss rod and Boston tuners. And again, he's gone for the iron gear humbuckers, the blues engine and the dirty torque. He's got a Gibson Nashville bridge and a Shaler stop tailpiece. The body is stained with water-based leather dye, and he used some clear coats of automotive rattle cans. He said it took him 16 coats of those. Let's see this guitar. Wow, now I like the stain there, Nigel, on the back of that wood, and now I think I can see this is the Shisham wood. Now I'm completely thrown, because obviously that fretboard I was expecting to be dark and it's not. Well, it's a lovely looking wood, isn't it? I mean, goodness gracious me, that's fantastic. But yeah, lovely, beautiful. And here we have the finished guitar. Wow, well, that is a beautiful looking guitar. Well, all credit to you, Nigel. I mean, you know, you've really pulled one out of the bag there, and making the tools yourself as well. Excellent. That really is a beautiful body there. And well, you've certainly got a good finish with all those cans, all those rattle cans. Nigel said he had some problems getting components and materials. He says there are no guitar parts shops in Cyprus. Well, goodness me, come on folk, you need to get yourself a guitar parts shop. In July 2021, Nigel and his wife were able to get back to the UK, and Nigel was able to finish his Les Paul, and they were able to put their house on the market. So let's have a look at that finished Les Paul. Well, it was worth the wait, wasn't it, Nigel? Because again, that is an incredible guitar. This is, you know, Gibson quality. This is amazing. Again, I love the shape of the headstock that you've got there. I mean, Nigel says apart from the headstock, he's gone for a 1959 Gibson Les Paul shape. And I mean, I'm not a great fan of fingerboards, and obviously this guitar doesn't have one, and I actually think they look absolutely super just like this. So that looks really amazing. That is excellent work. And those dies, I mean, they really are brought out by that high gloss oil finish from Crimson. I shall have to get myself some Crimson stains. They do look so good. I know they're a bit pricey, but oh, they do look good. Wow. So Nigel says, what did he get from all of this? Well, the Gibson SG contains wood from his friend's house, and he thinks he would have liked that. And I can sympathise that. You know, I'm really sorry for your loss, Nigel, because obviously you did enjoy playing guitar in the coffee shop with your friend, and that's really sad. But really nice that you were able to incorporate some of your friends' life in the guitar. And he says despite having all his tools in the UK, he actually really enjoyed making the guitar with a limited set of tools that he had and made in Cyprus. And I think, oh, there's a lesson from that, you know. You don't have to have all this high-tech stuff, you know. And of course now he's the owner of 2 fabulous guitars. Amazing. Anyway, Nigel, thank you for sending us this story, a tale of 2 guitars, 2 countries. Whew, a mammoth story, but a wonderful tale and a great ending. So thank you very much indeed. And don't forget, if you'd like me to feature your guitar in my videos, please just contact me. The form is on my website, footstepsguitars.co.uk, and I will get back to you and we can get some details about your guitar. Wow. Okay, now I've got this appendage stuck on, it's time to do a bit of shaping. And I've done a bit of marking on this, on the top edge there. I think I'm going to initially cut out a shape. Just going to see if I can do it with the bandsaw to start me off. And then I'm going to shape it with some rasps and, well, the Japanese rasp saw is going to be my favourite tool, I think. So, let's give it a go. Okay, well, I took the opportunity to sand the body down as well. So let's put the neck in, see what it looks like. Helps if I've got the bolt. Okay, well, looks a lot better than it did. Okay, so you can tell that I've added a piece on, but quite honestly, I'm happy with that. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Wow, okay, this is coming on. Right, well, I think it's about time I drilled some holes in this headstock. Get the machine heads ready and get the bridge on. You may remember that earlier on in the series I drilled the holes in the wrong places in this template, but I fixed that problem. So I'm just going to attach the template onto the headstock with a bit of tape just to try and keep it rigid while I mark the holes. Got the nut there, lined up there, lined up there. Okay, let's mark some holes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's where I need to drill them. Of course, this is the point in the project where elements of doubt start to drift into your mind. You know, are the holes in the right place? Now, I mean, you know, I took great care to make sure that they were in the right place, but were they really? Let's have a look. Well, that looks reasonable. That one looks reasonable. That one looks okay. That one looks okay. I've got to make sure they get them round the right way when I fix them in. I think we're okay to go. Let's drill some holes. First off, I'm going to drill a 3mm hole all the way through as a guide hole. And I've taken a bit of wood and I've stuck a bit of vinyl flooring on it to act as just sort of a bit of a base support. So let's get this going. Now I've measured the machine heads and they're actually 14mm in diameter. Now I don't have a 14mm drill, but I do have a 14mm Forstner bit. So I'll start it on this side, then come back through the other side. Hopefully they should just pop out. There we go. I think I'm going to get the nut fitted. Then I can put the machine heads on, put a couple of strings in, and then position the bridge. Because I always have problems positioning the bridge. So let's get the nut fitted. Now, in an effort to make life easy for myself, I bought a pre-cut nut, but you'll see that looks a bit silly, doesn't it? That's no good. But fortunately, I do have a block of black, so I can cut my own nut. And I think on a bass guitar like this, you want a reasonably sized nut. So let's cut that out. Okay, so I've marked up the position of the slots. What I've done, I've actually made them a little bit wider than this nut that I bought, the commercial nut, because the width of the neck is a little bit wider. It's actually 12.5 mils between each of these, so I think that's going to be okay. Put that in there, and it looks pretty reasonable. So I think I'll just do a little slot with a saw in at each of those points, just to get my position of strings right. Okay, I think I'll get these tuners in. Got to remember that the string is going to pull that way, pushing it against the gear there, so that's the way round it should be. Oh, watch on, Dave. Here you go. Well, whoops, nothing's ever plain sailing, is it? I thought I'd ordered 2 aside tuners, but these are 4 in a row. These original ones are 2 aside. So it's a bit of a nuisance. I may get away with mixing them up, I suppose, but I think I'm going to have to go back on the internet and see if I can get 2 aside black tuners. I'm not sure what's happened there. For the purposes of sorting out the strings, I'm going to just put these chrome tuners back in, and I'll have a look tonight, see if I can get the ones I wanted. Okay, when I eventually got them in the right way round, I've just tightened them up a little bit, not much. I've just so that they're sort of secure, just enough for me to put some strings on there. Okay, so now we've got the nut, we've got the tuners, we need to look at the bridge. Now then, it's an 864mm scale length, and I know from experience that I always have to bring the bridge back a bit. I think the top string is going to be the nearest to that 864, so I'm going to bring that to there. Right, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to put some tape on. Let's mark it and tape it. I spared you the details of me measuring that. It's a bit of a pain. Anyway, the top edge here is the right distance from the nut. So now I also put a couple of marks which you probably can't see. I'll just sketch them in a bit, which I've drawn from putting a straight edge against the side of the neck and then just bringing it down to the body here. So that's going to give me an idea of where this thing should be positioned. More importantly, give me an idea where the centre line should be for the bridge, which I'm hoping will be the centre line of the guitar, because that would be quite handy, wouldn't it? So let's just check that. So that's 35, 35. 35, 35, so that's a mark there. So we're a millimetre offset from the centre line, which is not surprising because oh, actually, I beg your pardon, we're actually on the centre line. Didn't see that properly. Yeah, so that's good. That's the centre line. So is this going to help us? Well, I hope so. Well, where's the centre of the bridge is more importantly. Let's have a look. So that's 45, 45, 46, 46, 46 and a bit. 46, 46, 46 and a half, 46 and a bit. It's there. That's the centre. That is the centre, so that needs to be on the centre line. Okay. And there's the next problem. I think I've been sent the wrong stuff, you know, because I ordered definitely a hardtail bridge. I didn't order a through the body bridge. Well, I've got some ferrules, so I could use those. Well guys, things aren't exactly going entirely to plan. I should have checked all the fittings when they arrived just to make sure they were what I ordered. I'm going to go back now and check that I did order the right things. Not that it really matters, but I'm definitely going to have to get some black machine heads, and I've got to make up my mind whether I use the bridge that I've got and put some ferrules through the body, or get a bridge with the strings going in at the back there. But do you know what? I think I'm going to leave you in suspense. I've got some thinking to do. That's what I'm going to go away and do. In the meantime, don't forget we've got a musical challenge going on at the moment. So we've got one entry. Sonical Mods put up a fantastic composition. It's a short film. All you've got to do is put some music against it. Use your guitar, whatever instrument you fancy playing with, and post it to YouTube with the hashtag #OurScoringChallenge 2022 so that people can see it. And well, I'll feature it on the next episode. I know I've got a few people who are interested in doing it, but I've not seen any others come up there yet, so looking forward to that. Anyway, in the meantime, thank you very much for watching. Please don't forget to hit subscribe. Stay safe, and I'll see you soon.